Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Moon Knight, issue number 17. This was pretty good. This kind of made me like sit back in my seat for a couple moments. Look, every so often there's some badassery, but not like this. Not like this, bro. In the previous issue, I remember Moon Knight got his ass beat by one vampire. And I'm like, how's he going to recover from this? This is a good way. I love this comic book. And this is what I think everybody wants in a Moon Knight comic book. Presented. Not by me. Let me tell you who the people who actually presented this. This issue is called Home Game. The writer is Jed MacKay. The artist is Alejandro Cappuccio. Why do I've said his name so many times before? Moving on. Rachel Rosenberg does the color art, and VC's Corey Petit on letters. Stefan Segovia and Rachel Rosenberg do the cover, and Paco Medina and Jesus Abertov do the variant cover. Tell me you are not wiping your butt on me, kitten. My kitten is here. Not my cat, my kitten. And just pooped, and I'm smelling the poop. And just, it's weird, but you know what? Like, it's life. It's life, my peeps. So just deal with it. Anyway, so Hunter's Moon is dead. Hunter's Moon actually got killed when they snapped his neck. I'm like, you could technically survive with a snapped neck. I mean, it wouldn't be comfortable. You'd be paralyzed for the rest of your life, but you could theoretically survive, right? Yeah, no, this guy got killed. He's dead. He's not breathing, no pulse, nothing. Home Slice got killed. He's... It's hard to say if he's back or not. It's hard to say. For me, it's one of those things where it's like, did Moon Knight die? Like, before he was Moon Knight, he died. Bushman killed him, and then he came back to life, in front of the altar of Khonshu. So it makes sense that Hunter's Moon could come back. Why not? I mean, right? So I wasn't like, overly surprised that he was dead or that he was killed or, that he was shown to be dead in this issue and whatnot. It's just like it is what it is, I'm sure he'll be back. If Jed MacKay wants him back or if anybody wants him back, he'll be back. He'll have his own comic book series and everything. Get off it, right? But the way he comes back in this, it leaves you to wonder if he's actually back. I love it when you have an entity. That I can't remember the name of the house right now, but that house that's kind of like the House of Secrets that showed up in I think the very first appearance of Doctor Strange, the very first Doctor Strange comic book ever, which was not his origin, by the way. It was either that or maybe it was the second issue. I don't know. I think maybe it was the second issue, his second appearance. Anyway, there's that house that can do anything, and it showed up and it was hanging out with not Jed MacKay, with Moon Knight. I'm confusing the two now. Probably makes Jed smile, right? And that is now what the Midnight Mission is. That house is the Midnight Mission. The Midnight Mission is that house. So he can do anything in that house, as long as he's in his good graces, I would imagine. Anyway, he's definitely in its good graces. He wrecks these guys. If you listen, the reason why I went into so much detail there with the Midnight Mission thing and what it actually is nowadays is because there's going to be a lot of people who read every single one of these issues but forgot that one aspect. Go back and look at my interview that I did with Jed MacKay, where we bring it up and we talk about it. He's been doing a fantastic job. He continues to do a fantastic job with Moon Knight. It's amazing what he's pulling off, and like I said, he reminds me so much of some of those comic book writers back in the day. He's even got some of the attitude of some of the comic book writers from back in the day. Anyway, absolutely murdering it here. And Moon Knight goes after the two vampire assassins who were sent after Hunter's Moon. The beating he puts on these guys is, in my opinion, it should be considered legendary. If I had any complaint about this comic book and the beating and all that stuff, it would be in this. I genuinely miss the days where there was text in the comic book other than the word bubbles. You don't even get thought bubbles for the most part anymore, right? The word balloons, everything is a word balloon now. But the narrator's text, all that stuff, it's gone. And it breaks my heart because it would have been perfect here in that fight. I forget exactly what Moon Knight says. I'm not going to open up the app again. I forget exactly what he says, but he says something to the effect of, like, now it's my turn. And he says it again. At that point, I shouldn't have heard Moon Knight or read Moon Knight talking for at least a couple of panels. But in the very next panel, he's talking again. And right away, my mind went to the idea that this talk that he's doing should have been reserved to narrator mode. I should have heard his thoughts or heard the narrator talk in the little narrator boxes instead of word balloons. I did not want Moon Knight to have anything to say until later. When I said something about, bringing it down on top of him, you think that Moon Knight's going to jump down on top of him and start beating with the sticks again. Oh no. In many ways, it was far worse. He's like, this isn't a, what do you say? This isn't a beating. This is a burial. And I was like, oh, shoot. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Guys, this is just one of those comic books that you can read, and I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been reading comic books, long or short, somewhere in between. Doesn't matter. It means nothing. This is a comic book that you can sit down and just read and enjoy. Genuinely enjoy this comic book. Man, the art style, while it wouldn't be my preferred art style for a Moon Knight comic book, I have to say that when there's action on the page, it's perfect because it makes the action look faster. The way that everything's it almost looks like the very beginning of being anywhere within sight of a black hole, right? You want to see the black hole, maybe the event horizon. But you know how you'd start stretching, right? Until you're like a micron wide, you'd be dead by that point. But at first, you just seem taller and thinner. And that's exactly what this looks like. You know what it looks like? It looks like Japanese animation. It actually looks like anime, right? When you see like the old Japanese version of X-Men and Blade and all that stuff, that's actually what this looks like. And it hits. It's a solid hit, baby. You sunk my battleship. I love it. Guys, I don't see anybody reading this comic book and not being satisfied with it. I don't see anybody reading this comic book and thinking, meh, when you read it. It's not so much for the thinking man, so much as it is in this particular issue for the visceral, carnal side inside of us, who sometimes just wants to be like, you know what? I think I'm going to let loose. Just for a minute. This would really do it for you. This is like going to the gym and there's that heavy bag and you just start pounding the crap out of it. And then you realize you forgot your tape. So you tape up and you go right back at it again. Hopefully you didn't roll your wrist. That would be horrible. Thank God it's never happened to me. Not for anything more than a couple of moments, but whew. Anyway, I've seen people put out of action for months for that. Guys, this was amazing. I loved it. I can't wait to see more of this. How long have I been reading a comic book this long for this long a time, right? This many, just reading it issue by issue by issue. Very rare. But this one, making that exception. Why? Read the comic book. It's not that hard to figure out. This should be a pull box. It really should be. If you're going to do it by trade paperback, you'll probably love it more. Then you come back and look at my reviews afterwards. In the meantime, this is Professor Bill. This is Comic Book University. You will like the video and watch an ad. I hope. I'll talk to you guys later. Again, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed. And for my after credit scene, this is Stinky, my new kitten. I still have Bagel, but they don't like each other. So Stinky likes to hang out with me, right? And he's a shoulder cat, kind of. Can he really let me?
My stinky stinky. You put your cat butt on me before? Oh, butthead. I love you too.
I know you're sleepy. Okay, guys.